Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar, where we will be discussing migration from Open-E DSS V7 to Open-E JovianDSS from licensing and also technical side. On the technical side, it will be my colleague Filip, pre-sales engineer at Open-E. Hi, Filip.
Hi.
And my name is Patryk, key account specialist at Open-E, and I will explain what licensing and support looks like. Okay, so I think we can start then. So this is agenda for today's webinar and what we want to address to you today. So first point, I will show you the Open-E DSS V7 end-of-life timeline, dates, and show you what to be prepared for. In the next topics, Filip will talk about system compression between our products and hardware requirements. Later, I will talk about the implementation at one of our clients and its story, of course. And finally, we will talk about how to carry out the migration from the sales and technical side. So yes, starting from the first topic, this is what the end-of-life Open-E DSS V7 timeline looks like. Very simple. For October 31st, 2024, the last day of purchase is scheduled, which means that this will be the last chance to buy a license for Open-E DSS V7, also storage extensions and support renewal or restatement. So now is good time to consider whether you want to build your system with Open-E DSS V7, renew your support license, or extend your storage, of course. The next day, 1st November 2024, is the end of life for Open-E DSS V7, and it will no longer be possible to purchase any license, and the product will be no longer developed. And yeah, basically, that's it. Just 2 days, time flies, and so it's worth thinking now about how your storage will be handled. And yeah, now Filip will show you system compression between these both products, so between Open-E DSS V7 and Open-E JovianDSS, of course.
Okay, thank you, Patryk, for this nice introduction. So, as Patryk mentioned, my job in the first part of the presentation will be to provide you with a comparison between Open-E DSS V7 and Open-E JovianDSS. As you can see in the slide, there are a plethora of features which are available in Open-E JovianDSS, which are not known to the users of Open-E DSS V7. Compared to that system, there have been improvements in terms of administration, network management, storage management, including convenient ways of expanding the capacity, new ways of monitoring and harnessing the full potential of the hardware used in a given system, as well as a number of new NAS and SAN functionalities. Since it's not possible to exhaust the topic here, we are going to focus on some of the main features that you might find interesting. In case somebody wants to be provided with a more exhaustive comparison, they can always contact Open-E pre-sales and we can provide you with a live demonstration of the product, but a few highlights now. So, as far as network management is concerned, one of the highlights is definitely support for RDMA. So, what is it and how does it work? Generally speaking, RDMA stands for Remote Direct Memory Access, and it is a computer networking technology that allows direct access from the memory of one computer into that of another without involving either one's operating system. This permits high throughput, low latency networking, which is especially useful in massively parallel computer clusters. It has the benefit of eliminating the intermediate step of utilizing the CPU to transfer data while freeing up the CPU to conduct other tasks. By and large, there are two RDMA iterations on the market. RDMA over Converged Ethernet, ROCE, and iWorp, and it is the former that is employed in Open-E JovianDSS. To be more precise, in Open-E JovianDSS, we use ISA, which stands for iSCSI extensions for remote direct networking. ISA extends the iSCSI protocol to RDMA and uses the RDMA protocol suite to provide higher bandwidth for block storage transfer. This way, the RDMA protocol increases the performance between the nodes by using ROCE compatible controllers. So in this case, we use RDMA for the connection, for the mirroring path, which is used in a cluster non-shared configuration. When it comes to the storage management itself, undoubtedly, one of the main benefits of the ZFS-based Open-E JovianDSS is support for snapshots. So let's break them down to really understand what makes them special. With Open-E JovianDSS, you can take multiple snapshots of your data storage and easily compare different versions thanks to the clones. Snapshots allow the ZFS file system to create lightweight, read-only copies of the current state of the file system. They are lightweight since only the data that has changed between subsequent snapshots is kept. They can be seen as a form of backup as they allow you to revert to a previous state of the system. Open-E JovianDSS combines several technologies to create the on- and off-site data protection feature, a strategy for backup and disaster recovery that allows an instant restore of crucial company data in case of an unexpected disaster. It enables consistent snapshots for virtual machines and asynchronous replication to remote and remote destinations. The rotational snapshots are stored according to a retention interval plan for a flexible backup that can be customized to specific user needs. What is more, copies of all kinds of data are consistent, including databases and running virtual machines with all of their applications and data. Moreover, the backup window is reduced to minutes since only data changes are replicated within every interval. Additionally, the backup is uploaded from the client machine to the storage server. As far as safety is concerned, the data streams are sent via SSH for safe transfer via the internet. Even on the same server, crucial or hot data can be restored instantly from one of the multiple snapshots through the snapshot rollback function. Also, users can access the snapshot data and manually restore all selected files. It is possible to instantly switch to the backup server and use it temporarily as a primary location, depending on the system hardware, and do the restore in the background. Restoring the data from an offsite server could be a little bit more time-consuming, depending on the amount of data, naturally, that needs to be recovered, as well as the connection throughput. As Open-E JovianDSS has already been in development for several years, since 2016 to be more precise, I believe it makes sense to showcase some of the recently added features. The update saw the addition of 2 new features. One of them is the possibility to partition NVMEs for non-data groups, in other words, for write block, read cache, and special devices. If you aren't familiar with the concept of ZFS special devices, you might describe it simply as another way, aside from caching mechanisms, in which you can enhance the performance of your pool. Thanks to the latest Open-E JovianDSS update, you can utilize additional SSDs or NVMEs to raise the efficiency of your data storage even more with a ZFS special device that holds only specific types of data, such as metadata or small file blocks. Okay, let's go on. This is another slide with some of the features. As I've mentioned, we will be happy to provide you with more details in case anybody is interested. But for now, I would like to say just a few words about the minimum hardware requirements. Understandably, they will differ quite significantly based on whether you are planning to deploy a single node or a high availability cluster. The hardware specifications, which you can see in the slide, serve only as a starting point for someone who is interested in testing the software to find out more about the functionalities. Generally, the best way forward is to provide us with the configuration of your system, and then we are able to provide you with the feedback based on your specific requirements and use case. Back to Patryk.
Exactly. So in some cases, you can use even existing hardware of your existing environment to use Jovian, Open-E JovianDSS. So this is very good. Thank you very much, Filip. So yes, as Filip explained how it looks like theoretically, I will demonstrate how it works in real life. So let's go to the next slide. Optima Packaging Group is a global company that produces filling and packaging machines for various sectors, such as food, cosmetics, healthcare, and paper hygiene. The company is at the forefront of the industry in terms of quality and innovation. Back in 2012, Optima turned to Exomium, Open-E's gold partner and IT system integrator, to find a solution that will help to match the company's needs, such as central management and protection of the global stretched virtualized data storage system with multiple appliances in different locations. They choose Open-E as a software base for the created solution. The initial system was based on the Open-E DSS V7, which at the time was one of Open-E's top solutions for data storage and protection. The final effect of this cooperation matched all of Optima's requirements and enhanced company data storage capabilities for years to come. However, as we know, the years have passed, and at some point the Open-E DSS V7 based data storage system was reaching its limits in terms of capacity. The old requirements stayed the same, yet there was still a place for improvement, of course. So Optima decided to upgrade the system to Open-E JovianDSS that could not only help extend the available space, but also enhance the system with the extra features to raise its reliability and resilience. And yeah, most interesting fact here is that the old environment using Open-E DSS V7 was used to create a backup storage for the new Open-E JovianDSS. So this is a very good example of migration. And yeah, so far the customer is very happy with this decision. You can see an interview with Mr. Manuel Kus on our YouTube channel. So please visit our YouTube channel and check it. Where he tells what it looks like from his perspective. Yes. So it was the example of the implementation such migration. Now let us discuss what the migration process looks like in practice and what the steps should be taken. Filip, please.
Okay, so sorry, wrong slide. Yes, okay. The information I will try to provide right now is some of the general points that I think should be taken into consideration when someone is considering this migration. This is designed specifically for people who are users of Open-E DSS V7. So one of the first steps which we recommend to someone who is considering this migration will be providing us, Open-E support and pre-sales, with the logs of your current Open-E DSS V7 setup, as it helps us to check your current configuration, so that we can provide feedback as to whether it's possible to use the same hardware with Open-E JovianDSS. Obviously, there are some differences in terms of the architecture. I think one that is probably the most striking difference is the fact that Open-E DSS V7 takes advantage of traditional rate controllers, whereas Open-E JovianDSS works better with host bus adapters. It is a configuration that we recommend. Although if somebody is interested in continuing using with a traditional rate controller as well, this is possible. You can find out some basic things to take into consideration if you're planning such a step on one of the articles that we have on our blog. Another thing that must be taken into consideration is RAM. So ZFS has been kind of infamous for how RAM hungry it is. But I don't think that this is something you need to worry about. Especially if you're planning a very big system, we will help you to configure this and to give you some recommendation based on your specific use case. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Regardless of whether the system can be migrated with the existing or new hardware, must be purchased, the next logical step is completing our Open-E deployment procedure. The deployment procedure for Open-E JovianDSS is crucial to ensure the compatibility and stability of the storage system within the end-user environment. The pre-deployment process is outlined in the Open-E JovianDSS deployment process guide, and it involves several key steps. The first one being pre-deployment. So this phase includes confirming the compatibility of the entire hardware setup and ensuring that the planned hardware and software configuration aligns with the best practices for Open-E JovianDSS. You need to download the spreadsheet from our partner portal and fill it in with your hardware configuration and provide us with the storage configuration based on the calculator, which you can also find on our website. Speaking of hardware, I would like to point out to the hardware compatibility list, which is available on our website. So if you have some specific HBAs or you want to make sure that Open-E JovianDSS has the necessary drivers that you want to use in your configuration, most of the information is there. However, even if you don't happen to find the components that you're planning to use, feel free to contact us and we can provide you with the definite feedback regarding this. Well, the next step are the initial tests in the partners laboratory. So it is strongly recommended to perform an initial test in the partners laboratory to detect any potential hardware or configuration issues before proceeding to the end-user environment. It involves performing a number of tests, which are especially crucial to make sure that the failover functionality is working as expected in cluster systems, as well as some basic measurements of the performance of the system. The next step is basically repeating the same set of tests, but this time already in the end-user infrastructure. So there are some unexpected problems that might arise from changing the environment. And that's why, although it might seem that on the surface it doesn't make sense to prepare and to repeat those tests in real life, there are a lot of unpredictable issues that might arise, especially from the network environment. So this step is required as well. And finally, we appreciate it if you register your successful deployment. So after everything is approved by us, the deployment tickets should be registered in Partner Portal, and this is helpful for future reference as well as for troubleshooting some potential issues if they arise. Generally, those steps are designed to ensure a smooth and successful deployment of the software. It is important to follow the guide closely and to perform all of the recommended tests to avoid any issues during the production use of the storage system. For detailed instruction and additional resources, you can refer to the official Open-E documentation and guides. Okay, let me. Okay. As a final footnote, just a few words about the possible scenarios regarding the migration. So scenario one, I think, is if somebody is interested in moving the Open-E DSS V7 single node to Open-E JovianDSS on new hardware. So what would happen in such a case? So after the installation of JovianDSS on new hardware and creating, for example, a data set and a shader in case of file systems, you need to activate the data migration tool, which is available in the text user interface in the extended tools menu. Afterwards, access your Open-E DSS V7 system, where you need to create a new share and enable the data file replication agent. This is followed by creating a new snapshot, which is in turn assigned to the appropriate nest logical volume. Now you will be able to configure the create new data file replication task wizard, in which you simply need to fill in the steps regarding the source share and, importantly, the destination IP, which obviously in this case is the IP of your new Open-E JovianDSS system, with all the remaining necessary details such as the name of the destination, credentials, etc. Once you start the replication task, you will be able to observe its progress in both systems. Open-E JovianDSS zpool storage capacity will reflect the fact that new data is being replicated there. The second scenario is quite similar, but it involves migration of Open-E DSS V7 cluster to Open-E JovianDSS cluster on new hardware. So after installing 2 instances of Open-E JovianDSS, you also need to create a zpool whose size will correspond to the size of the storage of your Open-E DSS V7 system. Then you need to bind the nodes to start the cluster services. You create a new dataset and share. Again, you enter the extended tools menu in text user interface and select data migration tool and set the destination agent user and password. The main difference between this scenario and the previous one is that in this case you need to move all the data from the Open-E DSS V7 cluster to one node and stop the failover on the system, and subsequently shut down the node which is not active anymore. Afterwards, you need to create a new share and enable the data file replication agent. This is followed by creating a new snapshot which is assigned to the appropriate NAS logical volume. Now you will be able to configure the create new data file replication task wizard. And again, you need to fill in all the steps regarding the source share, the IP destination of your Jovian, with all the remaining necessary details, which I talked about previously. And again, once you start the replication task, you will be able to monitor the progress on both sides. Scenario number 3 would be also the migration of Open-E DSS V7 cluster to Open-E JovianDSS cluster, but this time reusing the same hardware. So again, you need to move all the data from the Open-E DSS V7 cluster to one node and stop the failover on the system, and subsequently shut down the one node which is not active anymore. Then you proceed to install Open-E JovianDSS on the hardware which has now been freed, and you configure it with a zpool consisting of single disk for new, or with two-way or single disks, and you enable the data migration tool and perform the other steps which I have already talked about in the previous scenarios. Predictably, you can now copy your data from Open-E DSS V7 by enabling the data file replication agent and filling all the information pertaining to your new Open-E JovianDSS destination agent. Once the replication has been completed, we shut down the remaining Open-E DSS V7 node, which can now be reinstalled with the second node of JovianDSS. Now we have to proceed with the cluster configuration of the new system. Once the remote disks from the new node are visible, they must be attached to the existing virtual devices. So you will have either two-way mirror or four-way mirror virtual devices to complete this fully fledged non-shared cluster. This is, of course, just an example. The configurations used by the customers are very different, so this is by no means meant as an exhaustive guide. I would like to end by pointing out to the fact that there is a lot of confusion on the data storage market, which results from the recent acquisition of VMware by Broadcom. Therefore, a lot of customers are interested in moving their virtual data stores and the virtual machines between different hypervisors. So there are respective guides for moving them in different configurations. We have recently tested the possibility of moving virtual machines from VMware to Proxmox. Proxmox has recently included a built-in tool which can help you to move your virtual machines quite easily. And this is good news for someone who is using the Open-E JovianDSS storage for virtualizations. So to sum everything up, once the system has been deployed, you can take the appropriate step based on your scenario. As I've said, some of you might be interested in moving your Open-E DSS V7 single node or cluster to Open-E JovianDSS on completely new hardware, while others might be considering using the already existing configuration for this migration. There is probably quite a big group of people willing to move their virtual machines between hypervisors. Regardless of which scenario you must follow, the main takeaway is that you can reach out to us at presets@opene.com to get feedback regarding the deployment of Open-E JovianDSS and consult us about your own migration path. Okay, thank you.
Exactly. Thanks, many thanks, Filip, for explanation, and we can move on. So yes, our goal here is customer satisfaction. So what we offer is comfortable upgrade and migration from Open-E DSS V7 to Open-E JovianDSS. What we guarantee is continuation of support. So if you have an active support license for Open-E DSS V7 and decide to upgrade your system, the remaining active support time will be transferred to the support license for Open-E JovianDSS. So you lose nothing by migrating to Open-E JovianDSS. You will still have existing support. We are also offering very good licensing. That means we approach each customer individually. So if you would like to see how it looks like in your case and know the price for this, please just contact us. You can send us current or new hardware configuration. We'll check everything of course, and prepare quotation for you. We also provide ongoing support during the migration, which means that from the first interest, licensing and finalization, we will help you choose your configuration and design, and we'll be in the constant contact during this migration. So we will take care of you, of course. Yeah, and I think so far that's all what we want to show you today. Do you have anything to add, Filip?
No, I think that's everything. So, as I've mentioned, there are really various migration paths. So, I think the main takeaway from this is that you can count on us to help you make the right decisions.
Exactly. You are not alone here. We are here with you. We want to help you, and yeah, we can move on, I think, to our Q&A session now. So let us go, and please feel free to ask questions. Do you have any questions? Let us see the chat and wait a minute, of course. Okay, I don't see any questions, so I think.
As I've mentioned, even if you don't have any questions that might appear now, you can always contact us at presales@opene.com, and we will be happy to address any doubts or to provide you with any advice that you might need regarding migration or also other things. Perhaps some of you don't really want to migrate their data, but simply want to build completely new systems. We will be happy to assist you with that as well.
Exactly. You can feel free to contact or us, and also me, of course, in first way. I will forward and try to answer any of your questions. So yes, feel free to contact us. Yeah, okay, so I hope this webinar was useful for you and allowed you to better understand the migration from Open-E DSS V7 to JovianDSS. And yeah, as we mentioned, if there are any questions in the future, just send us an email, call, and contact us, and feel free to ask your questions. Thank you very much. Thank you, Filip.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.